Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Natalia. If you're new here, hello. And if you're not new here, welcome back. Today's video is going to be a casual conversation about how to balance your life outside of your 9 to 5, outside of school. And even if you're just somebody who balances a lot of projects like I do, I have a couple tips that I hope you find useful today. I've officially made it 1 year post grad, and it's been an absolute crazy ride. I've been working full time with a 9 to 5 since I graduated. All throughout college, I was involved in so many things. I had a very intense booked schedule. Over the years, I've just picked up a few ways to automate my schedule, my daily routine, to really just set me up for success and be able to balance all the things that I do. If this is you and you're a college student, you are working a 9 to 5, maybe you even own a business and you're just looking for ways to really make the best use out of your free time and set yourself up for success, I think you're gonna like this video. Let's get started. Number one, I just said this a few minutes ago, but automation is key. We have so many tools available to us because of the internet and so many things being digital, and automation has seriously helped me with my schedule. Number one, Google Calendar really is your best friend. Anytime there is a reset happening, a big change, something that's really going to impact my schedule, or I'm resetting my goals, I will go to Google Calendar and I will automate and build out my days to the best of my ability. What this means is, for example, for the new year, I had certain goals that I wanted to achieve. I, at the time, already knew what my work schedule was going to be like, what times I was commuting, what times I wasn't commuting. I built my other goals around the variables that wouldn't change. Before I dive into this, it's really important to note that things can fluctuate, things can change. You can try to plan out your schedule week by week as much as possible, but you have to be flexible because you really just never know what could happen. So I kind of take this with a grain of salt, and I use my calendar as more of a guide and not necessarily something that I need to follow to a T. It just helps me stay on track. It helps me know what days are assigned to what, whether it's chores, bills, free time and socializing, all of that I kind of build out for myself as a map. Let's start with the morning. For example, I had a few goals when I started 2026 about how I wanted my mornings to look like, what habits I wanted. So I tried to build those into my Google Calendar as much as possible. If you don't know already, you can make something recurring on Google Calendar. So every day, if I had the goal to wake up at 5 a.m. to go to the gym, I would set it every weekday, 5 a.m. for a color, because I like to color code. And every weekday, I have that laid out for myself. Another goal, of course, was to exercise more. So I made sure that I built that into my calendar. I also assigned myself what days I was going to do what exercise. So I would do Monday, Wednesday, Friday for legs, Tuesday, Thursday, upper body, something like that. So I tried to build that in as much as I could. Again, noting that your body could absolutely not want to do legs. You can be sick, your class gets booked and you can't take it anymore. So much can change, but it just kind of helps me know that at least 2 days out of the week, I'm focusing on this part, and 3 days out of the week, I'm focusing on this part. And that's just to kind of help my goals feel more attainable by assigning myself these minor things that will help me get there. And Google Calendar helps you with those automations. This is not sponsored, by the way. I just absolutely love it, and I know so many people use it. And it's just super helpful. I'll put an example here of what a Tuesday in my life could look like when I know I'm gonna go into the office. I have a commute, so I have it built out for myself. And that also means that the day before, Monday, could look like this because I'm preparing for Tuesday. I realize as I say this, I think the type A people will absolutely get it. They'll love this, but I also know everyone's different. You don't have to be type A, you could be type C, you could be type Z. But these minor things I think are very helpful if you are somebody who struggles to manage your time and you struggle to have a good balance. I personally have found that having something written down that I can see that's very visual, it's, on my screen, it's on an app, I can access it at any time and move things around. It just helps me not forget things. There's also a task feature, and I use that for listing out my bills throughout the month. So, for example, I know on the 17th of every month, my credit card payment is due. So I'll set a task for that day recurring. Every day on the 16th, I will pay my credit card. If your rent is due on the 28th, you can do the same thing, set that task. And you'll be reminded. You'll have it on your calendar. You'll get the reminder that it's due. And it's always satisfying whenever I've completed it or I've paid it. I can go in, hit that check mark, and then the task is completed. And it's honestly such a satisfying feeling. If you want to take it a notch up, you don't need to put the exact quantity, but I'll give you an example of something I've done for my savings goals. At the beginning of the year, I knew what quantity of savings I wanted to hit. So I broke that down into increments month to month. How much would I need to save month to month from January to December to get the amount that I was aspiring for? For example, I'm going to throw a random number out there. If I wanted to save $400 a month, then I would set that task on the first day of every month, $400 into savings. I would double check that that happened, and then I'll check it off, and so I know that I'm on track for my goals. On that note, something I didn't do when I was younger but would have definitely saved me so much time and energy and back and forth is automating your bank account. A lot of people aren't either aware that that's offered. Maybe they need some help setting that up. They're a little scared to press the wrong thing. Obviously, there's a barrier as well for the older audience who, struggles to navigate digital things. But if you can do this for yourself or a loved one, I definitely think you should. I use bank automation to transfer my savings, that same amount every month, on the same day of every month. If I want to put it towards a car loan or anything that I have recurringly throughout the month, I'll be sure to just set those automations because you don't want to get late fees. That's the last thing you want. Knowing that in the back of your mind of how much you are owing a month for something for a certain amount of time, I think having that knowledge also helps you be more mindful of your spending because you can factor in those variables that you've already set. I would definitely go into your bank app, automate whatever you can as best as you can. And it really saves me time. Let's be honest, after a long work day, maybe I, had too much going on. I just don't want to go into my bank app, think about it, do it, transfer it. It's just all the unnecessary steps. But I minimize a step when, it's already automated. And all I have to do is just go in whenever I feel like it and just verify that it did go through. It's really just one step as opposed to many. I think any way that you can find automation in your life is worth trying. I do this too when it comes to building out my haircuts, my dentist appointments, doctor's appointments. For example, if I know every 3 months I get a hair trim, I put that into Google Calendar. Say the first one I got was in January, I'm going to put it back in April, March as a note to myself that it's due for a hair trim. And so I can kind of look ahead at the beginning of the month and try to schedule it when the time comes. But this helps me stay on top of those things that you wouldn't really think about as well for doctor's appointment, dentist appointments. If I know every 6 months, I go in every year, whatever it is, having those little automations really is helpful. Those parts of our life that don't feel maybe as heavy or important in the moment, having them sort of planned out is one weight less off of your shoulder. All right, going into the next pillar. This is allocation. What does that mean? Really just dedicating specific tasks, things to a day out of the week. I'm going to use Sunday as an example because Sundays really are a reset day. And that's the first thing I would assign to yourself. Give yourself a day out of the week where you think, okay, I maybe would have the most time, the most flexibility to do majority of my reset. You don't need to do all of it because, we're working with increments of time here, But wherever you can sort of set yourself a day where you get the most of this done, absolutely do it. Sundays for me are my reset days. So I know on those days I will grocery shop, I will meal prep, I will everything shower. I will do all of the high maintenance things that keep me low maintenance throughout the week. I'm big on the meal prep game here. So on Sundays, I know I'm going to make a grocery list, I'm going to go to the grocery store, and I'm going to meal prep. That's already a couple hours out of my Sunday, but it really sets me up and saves me so much more time throughout the week. I also do an everything shower. I'll do any of those minor things in the self-care department that will help me throughout the week to feel put together, look a little more put together. And so for me, a Sunday, I love a Sunday, really is a day that I've allocated to take care of these things. Or I'll also break it up. So I'll do something Friday night, then I'll finish it up on a Saturday or a Sunday. Really use this to your advantage and build it around yourself. As long as you are being intentional in allocating time and days to do these things, I feel like you will notice a much bigger difference in how stressed you are about all the things you have to do or all these goals that you want, but you feel like you never have the time for. Once you kind of break it down a little bit, I promise you, you'll feel less overwhelmed. You'll feel like they're more attainable, and you'll start seeing the results little by little. For my commuters, whether you're commuting to work, to school, whatever it is, I know typically what days I'm going to be going into the office, how much time it's going to take. Usually it's an hour. There's not much you can do when you're driving, really anything, because you should only be driving. But whenever I have downtime like that, that's really going to cut into my day at least 2 hours. I will use it as a time to take calls. So if I'm overdue on chatting with somebody about a project, one of the side things that I have going on, or maybe catching up with my long distance best friend because she lives in Florida, I will really use that time to catch up with family, take some calls. And so it's making my drive as productive as possible with the limited options I have. I'll try to make the most use out of them whenever possible. And that's just another factor of allocation. Like it doesn't need to be a day. Sometimes it's maybe a task that you know you usually do, but how can you also use that bucket of time to check other things off? For the girlies who work full time and some of us who have demanding jobs, you know that downtime really is precious. All my downtime, I try to allocate it very, very strategically. If I know I have plans, say to go to dinner with someone, to literally go play pickleball with somebody, whatever it is, those are also important to me because I don't want to just work 24/7 and not have anything built in for my enjoyment. Not to say I don't enjoy my work, I definitely do, but I want to do normal things also. So I will also treat those with importance the way I would treat other things that I need to take care of for work. Something that isn't necessarily taught, I feel like it's a personality thing, is somebody who's hyper aware of time. That's definitely how I am. Like if I'm hanging out with somebody, I'm always thinking like, how long would this line take us? How long would this drive take us? Should I stay and play another round of pickleball? That will probably take another 30, 40 minutes. Like it's just more of a personality thing, but wherever you can, to just be someone who's aware of time, I think it works in your favor. If you catch yourself kind of being all over the place and time is just slipping by you, just try to maybe set timers on your phone. Try to have a watch on you, whatever it is for you to just be a little more mindful. I can give so many examples of how I allocate my days and my time. Ultimately, this is something that is very unique to you. We all have different jobs, we all have different responsibilities. Some of us could be parents and we have less time than others. All of that is totally, totally okay. But if you're trying your best to just make the most out of your day and you're trying different systems to help you keep those things and honor them in place, that's already great. I also think it's really important to understand that there are so many trade-offs. You're somebody who balances a lot too. You kind of get used to the ability to shift and be flexible and fluid all the time with trade-offs. So I know that if I really just have so much work to do today because I want to enjoy my day tomorrow and I don't want to work on this, maybe I'll give up, a full workout that day, but I'll do my 20-30 minute walk. And that really comes from evaluation, which is my next point. You can set yourself all these goals. You can automate on Google Calendar. You can prepare yourself with the systems as best as possible. But in practice, it can be so different. It can change. Your schedule could change with work. You can get a new job. The options really are endless. So I like to do monthly evaluations on my schedule, on my time, and also anything that I have coming up that month. I'm going to shift my schedule a little bit. I like to do it at the end of each month or the first of each month. I will sit there and move my schedule around. I'll make sure I know if I have a birthday party, if I have a friend's dinner, if I have, something with my parents, we have visitors in town, whatever. I will evaluate very often because it helps me stay realistic. Know that what I have built out in my Google Calendar won't happen every day to a T. And just having the ability to check in with yourself and realize where am I putting most of my time? What is it that I need? And how can I move things around so that I can do that? There's been times where I will just have the absolute craziest week of my life. I'll notice oh my gosh, I haven't cleaned my mirror in 2 weeks and there's specks on it, or I haven't reorganized, refolded my sock drawer. Those little things, again, that a type A person could probably would drive us crazy, but it'll have me sit down and think, okay, I'm not maybe taking care of my space enough, and it's going to put me in a bad mood, or it's going to distract me, whatever. So when I evaluate, I'll try to, assign myself, okay, on a Sunday, let me add a room clean to my list for this month. Especially as somebody who works a lot and has a lot of responsibilities, I don't want to ignore the domestic things around me, like cooking, cleaning, laundry, all of that. And honestly, make it enjoyable too. Part of this evaluation, maybe think of fun ways to make it, less daunting for you, less of a chore. I love to watch a true crime documentary or podcast in the background when I'm cleaning. Another point is outsource or divide help wherever you can. If you live with somebody else, your family, roommates, your partner, whatever it is, I have always been very big on fairness, especially if you're sharing a space with someone. So wherever you can maybe come up with a system where you trade off, take turns to do chores, do things around the house, it kind of gives you back some of your time because you give time, but you also want some back. I do this with my sister. I moved back home a few months ago, and so we'll do trade-offs. So I'll be in charge of the kitchen one week, the next she's in charge of it, and I'll do something else. And I even put a chart up in our fridge to remind everybody in the house who's doing what. You don't have to have a chore chart by any means with your roommates or your siblings. The point is, wherever you can accept the help or trade it off with anybody, absolutely give it a try. I'm willing to pay for other things that help me out a little bit more. So that's car washes, even facials bi-monthly, because they help me feel put together, look put together. Again, high maintenance things to keep you looking and feeling low maintenance. It's time to wrap all of these tips in a bow and end this video. But before I do, if you guys are interested in a part 2 or something a little more in depth, I'd love, love, love to make that for you. Just let me know in the comments down below. And as always, please like, subscribe, and let me know what you think of this content. And wherever this video finds you, may all the blessings go your way.